Hello everyone, it's Tracy. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks very much for joining me. Today I'm doing the assembly tutorial for the Sequin Storage Slide box. This project has been designed by Nicole Silhouette here on YouTube, and I shall link her YouTube channel in the description box below. The die set is available from Andy's store, also known as RLJLives, and I shall link that in the description box as well. It's time to get started and make our project, and I've got all my pieces cut out, so I'll go through them with you now. We need two of these shape, two of these pieces. These smaller pieces here, you need to cut 8 of those. There are 2 octagons that are plain, and there are 2 octagons that have a triangle shape cut out and a circle with a triangle cut out, and then we have the triangle piece. First off, we're going to make the base of the box, and you're going to need these 2 pieces, and I'm folding along the score lines, and you're going to need the 2 octagons that don't have any pieces cut from them. Mostly for this project today I'm going to use glue, but I do use double-sided tape for one part of it, and I'll go through that a little bit later. So I'm going to apply glue to the glue tab on one of those side pieces and glue both of those side pieces together, taking care to line them up properly, making sure that they are straight. Then I'm going to join the other two ends together like so. And this makes the main base of the box. With one of the octagons here, you'll see that that gets attached to the bottom. So I'm just going to apply glue to one of the glue tabs there and attach that octagon to the side, taking care to line it up properly and wait for the glue to get a good hold. And you can see that it'll go down like that. So I'm just going to quickly apply glue to all the tabs and then close that down, taking care to line them up. And I did find this easier to put this down onto my work surface, and that way it was easier for me to get these glue tabs lined up with the sides of the octagon. And using glue, you do have that wriggle room, so you can wriggle it around, make sure it's straight and in a good place before moving on. So I'm just making sure that I'm happy with the positioning. Then I'm going to flip the box over and press down those glue tabs from the inside, using my bone folder to assist me. And that's what the inside of your box looks like. Now what I like to do is I like to use the other octagon, which is why I cut 2, and I like to glue that on the inside of the box, and that does 2 things. It will cover the glue tabs so you can't see them, and it'll also give the base or the bottom of the box a little bit more strength and stability, which adds to the integrity of the base of your box. So that's the base, and we'll put that aside for now. Now I'm going to make another box base, and I'm going to cut the sides from acetate, and I've got them here. And you can see that I've put double-sided tape on the glue tabs. It is better to use double-sided tape with acetate, as glue is too slippery. And I've got the 2 octagons there for the base of the box. So I'm just putting this base together exactly the same way as before, just taking care to line things up properly and then join that shape together. You can see it's the same as before, and then I'm going to attach one of the octagons for a base, and then the other one will go inside. So I'll just remove the adhesive backings. And attach that octagon to one of the glue tabs, taking care to line it up properly. And then you can close up the base. Now the double-sided tape does make it a little bit more trickier because it will want to grab before you're ready to. You just need a little bit of patience. And again, I put it down onto my work surface so that I can use both hands to get it all sorted. So just flip it over, make sure the glue tabs are getting good hold to the base. And you can see I've got the other octagon here with double-sided tape ready to go on the inside. And I also put some glue on this as well for some added strength. And that's going to go inside to cover the glue tabs and give it a nice finish. Just pressing that down, making sure it's getting a good hold on that acetate. The glue will stick to the cardstock and the double-sided tape will stick to the acetate. Just giving it a good burnish, and there we have an acetate base as well. Now I'm not too bothered by the double-sided tape being able to be seen on the sides, that's fine with me. So we'll move on now to the lid, and the first thing we're going to do is do some folding along some score lines on these small pieces, as I'm showing here. It's about a millimetre gap. So you just need to take your time and fold along those score lines, and if you need to do it along a straight edge like a steel ruler, that would be helpful to you too. So you'll go along and you'll fold along all those score lines on those smaller pieces. And then once that's done, I'm going to move over to those longer pieces before going back to these smaller ones. I did chop and change a bit here, sorry about that. So I've got all these folded, and then I'm going to fold along the score lines on the two longer pieces. As I'm doing so here. And then I'm going to head back to these shorter pieces. Now on these shorter pieces, you'll notice there is a smaller tab and a larger tab on either side of a score line. On the larger side, we're actually going to put some double-sided adhesive. This is the other part of the tutorial where I switch over to double-sided tape. So I've gone ahead and put that double-sided tape on that larger tab that's on the side of those small pieces on all of the 8 pieces. So I'm just going to put them aside for now. Then I'm going to take these 2 long pieces again, and I'm going to join them together with the glue tab. Just putting some glue there on that small glue tab on the side. And I know it looks like I'm wiping the glue off, but I'm not. I'm actually just smearing it out so that it's across the whole glue tab. Then I'm going to close up the shape. And hold it in place until the glue dries. And you can see that we have this octagon shape with the tabs on the top. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn that over and put it down onto my work surface. I'm then going to take some glue and apply it to the top of those glue tabs. That is the side that's facing up towards the camera that you can see. Then I'm going to take one of the octagons that has a piece out of it, and I'm going to make sure I've got the right side facing up, because this is the side you'll see, and I'm going to push it down inside and attach them to those tabs that we just put glue on. And this is the inside of the lid, and I'm basically covering the glue tabs. Just makes the inside of the box look a little bit neater, or the inside of the lid of the box. So I'm just turning over there and putting some glue on one of the tabs that must have dried before it had a chance to stick. Just make sure that's all getting a good hold. And then I'll set that aside to dry. So whilst that part of the lid is drying, we're going to move on to the next part of the lid. We need the other octagon with the piece missing out of it, and we need the return of these 8 little pieces here. So with the 8 pieces we've got, you'll notice that there is that smaller edge that we left. That's the edge now that we're going to apply glue to, and stick that to the sides of the octagon piece. And we're going to put them right up against that score line that's on the smaller piece. And you'll do that on all of the 8 sides. taking care to be as precise as you can in your positioning. And I'm making sure that I'm getting glue all across that glue tab. The glue I'm using today is the Art Glitter Glue, and I've just put it into one of the tubes that I got from AliExpress. And the double-sided tape I'm using is the Sequin. So again, take your time, make sure you can be as precise as you can with this part. And I'm just sticking the last piece into place. Once all those pieces are in place and the glue has a good hold, there's just one more little thing we need to do, and that piece there, as you can see it once it's folded over, so we just need to snip a bit off so that when it's folded over it can't be seen through that piece that's missing. Then we're going to turn this piece over and we're going to get the round circle with the piece missing that has a score line. We're going to fold along that, and we're going to put glue on just the top section, not the bottom section. And we're going to line it up on the inside edge there against the little hole and then that big triangle wedge, and press it into place. Then I'm going to take a brad and also the triangle piece. Now with this triangle piece, make sure you've got your pretty side, or the side you want to be seen, facing down. So turn your piece over and then slide it in underneath and line it up with the hole, the little tiny hole. And then you can hold it with the other hand and get your brad and push it through that hole. And then I'm going to take the other piece of the lid and put the brad through the hole, the small hole on that piece too. Then I'm going to open the prongs of the brad to secure the brad in place, like so. Next we need to get these little tabs and tuck them in. Please be mindful when you are tucking in these tabs that you are not catching the part of the circle that is free floating. There is a part of the circle that is adhered to the top of the top there, but you don't want to catch the free floating piece and accidentally adhere it to the base, because then your slider mechanism will not work. So just take a little bit of care and take your time when you're doing this part, and I hope that I've explained that and it makes sense. So I'm going to start with the little short tab first that's over the little hole. Take the backings off, and using my pokey tool to assist me, I'm going to stick it on the inside. This was the easiest way I could figure out to explain how to do this piece, and the actual easiest way to do it. So I'm just holding that in place, making sure that double-sided tape gets a good hold, and I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. If you haven't got a pokey tool, you can use a scalpel like I'm showing here. It's just so that you can grip that backing on the double-sided tape to be able to get it out. But I've reverted back to my pokey tool here. Just this part of it will take the most time because you want to make sure you're lining it up properly. I'm taking your backings off and then tucking that piece down. And that creates the little channel for that little triangle wedge piece to slide up. And the circle, when you glue that top part of it down, stops that triangle piece from disappearing when it opens and closes. If I'm explaining that right, if that makes sense. So I'm just sticking the last one down into place. And I'm running around the whole edge, making sure it's in place nicely and that I'm happy with it. And I can see that using glue would have been a nightmare. So at the moment the little slider is movable, but it has a little hole there, and you can put a brad in there if you like, or you can put a pearl or a bead or anything like that. I'm just using a flat backed pearl for this one. Just going to stick it right over that hole, and this will act as a handle and also a stopper. So I'm just making sure it's in place nicely. And that's our lid done. And it fits over the box that we just made earlier. Fits in place. And it has a good hold when you hold it upside down. And this lid will also fit onto the acetate base. Like so. And that has a good hold as well. So I went ahead earlier before I made the tutorial and I did a practice one, and this is my practice one. And I've decorated it with flowers and butterflies. I'm just showing you can slide it open, slide your things out and then slip them back in. And because of what I've got in here, I've got pearls which are quite heavy. It isn't going to hold, the lid isn't going to hold on. So what I actually did with this one, to make sure the lid stays on a bit better, on the inside of the lid I ran a strip of cardstock around the inside and glued it into place, and that just give it a much tighter fit. And that's up to you if you want to do that or not, but I found it helpful because I've got heavy little pearls in there and I don't want them to come spilling out. Putting the cardstock strip on the inside edge of the lid is a great workaround, particularly if you've used a thinner cardstock or you have made a base out of acetate, and also if you plan to put heavy things inside your shaker box. That strip of cardstock on the inside edge will assist in making that lid stay on nice and firmly. The cutting die has been designed for the use of 300 GSM or 110 pound cardstock. But if you don't have it, then this is a great workaround. So these are the two that I have made for the tutorial, the acetate base and the solid card base. And I'm really happy with the way these turned out. And I also made this one. This is made with white cardstock, and I made it with an acetate base. I'm really happy with the way this turned out with the lovely peach flowers, and I decorated it just a little bit differently. And for some reason weddings came into my mind when I first saw this shaker box with the acetate base. You could put bridal rice in there to throw at a wedding, because I don't think they do confetti much these days. It's not very environmentally friendly. You could pour some out in your hand and throw, and then have on the table when you got back to the reception. That's just what I was thinking anyway. So that's my tutorial finished for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching and that you feel inspired to make one of these sequin shaker boxes. They're not that terribly hard to make and would make a great addition to your craft room for your supplies, or even to put in your happy mail for your friends. Don't forget to check the description box down below for the links that I previously mentioned, and if you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really love that too. Thanks very much for watching today. Have a great day, and until next time, it's bye for now.